No matter what we think, that is what we desire, is to be nearer and so near to God that we can't discern that there is a difference between us. We want to be so close to what we know as God, or perhaps what we don't know as God, and would like to know as God, that we cannot discern a difference between God and ourselves. We would like to be so close to God, so near, that we can't discern the difference between God, ourselves, and our greatest enemy, our greatest confusion. We would like to be so near, no matter what we're thinking in our egoic mind. That's what we really desire, is to be so close that we would have no concern about anything. We would like our faith to be so rich in the abundance of God that we could never imagine lack, that we could never see anything missing. We would like to be so close, and I don't mean to be presumptuous here, but I know this is what I desire, so I know it's what you desire, because I'm not special. We would like to be so close, so near to God, that we know without a doubt we are in God and God is in us, and we can't find a difference. Does anyone here agree with me? Does anyone disagree? Good. Good. Class is whoosh! That was close. That could have been something. I get on my radio show and I can find some who disagree, but not many. In unity, and I have truly embraced these unity teachings, not to the exclusion of anything else, but I came here as a unity minister. Actually, I came here as a licensed unity teacher. Last year I was ordained, or 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I was ordained as a unity minister. And so the foundation, obviously, of Unity Center is unity. That is not, what I like about unity is it does embrace other teachings. It does say yes to all divine ideas. And we look to see how they are the same rather than how they are different. When unity began back in, well, officially 1889, that was the official beginning of unity, with the publication of Modern Thought magazine. And unofficially it began in 1886 with Myrtle Fillmore's healing, or the beginning of her healing, when she heard, "I am a child of God, therefore I do not inherit sickness." But what I like about the Fillmores, Myrtle and Charles, who are their co-founders, and those who began to work with them, I won't say follow, I'll say work with them, is they all seem to profess a profound belief for the logic of spirituality, the logic of spiritual science, the logic that one foot in front of the other could cure all of our ills, could vanquish any and all confusion about the divine nature of our being. But they believed it was logical to believe in the invisible presence that we call God. They truly embraced the word God and a concept of God that went beyond, way beyond a human God, way beyond a physical being. They embraced the metaphysical understanding of Jesus the Christ. And in case you're confused about any of that in unity, Jesus is the man in unity. Jesus Christ is the awakened man. And Christ Jesus is the risen man. So we will talk about, not necessarily today, but often we will talk about the three different aspects of Jesus, who represents, we use him in unity as the ideal man. The Christ is the ideal man. Now, we use Jesus as the one who embraced it, but we could use any one of us. Everyone in this room, at some point in our day, in our life, we embrace the Christ. Christ awakening, the Christ understanding, the Christ consciousness, that suddenly we see clearly. We have moments of seeing so very clearly of what is. I know this because you guys keep coming back. And you've had those glimpses and you say, I want more of those glimpses. I want to find a way to be willing to surrender to the truth of my being all the time. Now, there's a part of us, some would call it the ego, that says, okay, fine. I would like to surrender some of the time. I would like to surrender enough that I can still have a great time and be a hedonistic individual. That part of me that I like, but I want to surrender enough so that it doesn't hurt as much as it does when I don't surrender at all. Would you agree? You know, it's sort of that part. I say this to somebody goes, yes. You know, it's I right there with you. Quite frankly, I'm right there with you. Anybody? That's like, yes, because somehow I'm afraid I'm going to have to give up my life to surrender all to Spirit and not have any fun. Does it seem the way back? You know, I'll get around to Spirit when I get older. I still have some things to do, some fun to have. And we haven't, the logic I offer you is, if you haven't yet surrendered all to Spirit, to God, to your true self, then you don't know if you can have fun with that. You don't know until you surrender all. You won't know. So surrender all and find out. From my experience, everything I have surrendered, I have lost nothing and I have gained so much. Every time I surrender, when I decide to apply the practical teachings that we teach here, that are taught in unity churches, that are taught in New Thought churches, that are taught in Course in Miracles, that are taught in so many places, when we seek to practice them rather than worship them, there is a difference. Practice means practice. Worship means talk about. Worship means contemplate and think about. Worship means idolize. But that will not get you the effects of the practice. Practice. Those of you who take classes outside of here, you practice it. Very few people I know get to play an instrument without practicing. Very few people I know get to dance magnificently, perhaps freely, but not, you know, technically they're a little off without practice. Those who wish to master a technique must practice the technique, is my point. Those who wish to go to the gym, very few people I know can go and bench press 100 or 200 pounds on their first time at the gym. You got to work your way up to that. You got to loosen the muscles. You got to stretch. And then you start with a lighter weight. For me, I have to start with just the bar with no weights on it. You know, it's a 45-pound bar. And when I go away from it for a while, I start again with just the 45-pound bar. And then I add 5 pounds to each side, and then 10 pounds to each side, and then 20 pounds and 25. I build my way up to so that I don't become discouraged. I don't try to overdo. I don't try to overdo my spiritual practice either. You know, I'm not going to sit, if I haven't meditated in a while, I'm not going to sit down for a good 25, 30-minute meditation. Start with 5 minutes. 5 minutes is so hard for so many of us. But it is logical to believe that 5 minutes of meditation can change everything. And if you're in a really big hurry, I'll give you that fast and easy meditation. That's a whole meditation. That is a meditation. that is something that can cleanse the mind and set you free. And some of us have a hard time doing that. Some of us go, how can we? Can't even give ourselves. Can we all do that? You mean maybe? Maybe. Let's find out. Shall we all try that? Sure. Here, take a breath and just go. Open your mouths wide and do it. On the exhale, wide, 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 wide. It's odd to open your mouth that wide to do it, and some of you still aren't doing it. It's so hard, and I know this from my own experience. I went to a teacher once. He said, no, so open your mouth wide. Now, to me, it felt like I had taken my lips and spread them to here. And he said, and the way I was doing it, he said, take your fingertips towards your mouth. But my mouth was only open this much. I thought it was like this. To really, wow. This is practical stuff here. It's not pretty, but it's practical for peace of mind. It's, you know, when you're doing it alone, I can't believe I'm up here. Oh, look at me, I'm a teacher. Just to go, It is impressive what will happen for your body, the clearing of your body, the clearing of your mind to do such a thing. It grounds us, but you can do it very quietly. And that, Jerry, just keep it the wrong. It is a, that can be your meditation when you're really on the go. It's not really a substitute for at least a 5 minute of just God. You know, my favorite is God is, I am, quietly. Because I had somebody try to do that with leading a meditation. They tried to copy me, thinking they want on the in-breath. It's silently you say the words. Just God is, I am. God is on the in-breath. Through the nose, God, I am on the out-breath. So you become aware of your identity. And when you're doing this sort of thing, you are not focused on your problems. You're not focused on what's wrong or what you think is wrong. You're not focused on anything but God is, I am. Now, most of us in meditation will suddenly, in the middle, you know, what we're going to have for dinner tonight. I can't believe they said that to me. You believe that? Doggone it, that Miss Karabi in 3rd grade, you know, she did this and she said that traffic and, oh, God is, I am. To interrupt the thought, to gently, not, oh my God, I'm not breathing. It's gently to bring yourself back. As I said, we're on the beginning of a 13 parts. It's not 13 weeks because it's going to last more than 13 weeks because we've got a guest speaker or two in the middle of there. But 13-part series on the universal principles. And this first principle, they're listed in your program. You don't have to worry about them right now. But this first one is the principle of being. Well, being is my God connection. Being is my divine nature. Being is, you know, we like to, we affirm here, there is only one power and one presence as the universe and as my life. God the good. Omniscience. Omnipresence. Omnipotence. God the good. Only one power. If there's only one power, then I must live in it. I was reading in Christian Healing, Charles Fillmore's book, one of his books. I love this. The starting point in spiritual realization is a right understanding of that one designated as the Almighty. It is strictly logical and scientific to assume that man comes forth from this one, who was named variously, but who is the origin of everything. Since man is the offspring of the Almighty, he must have the character of his parent. If the earthly child resembles its parents, how much more should the heavenly child resemble its parent? So our nature, our divine nature is spirit. Our divine nature is what is true, capital T true. And how do you know the difference between true, capital T true, little true, or illusion? The way you know the difference is what is unchangeable. That's capital T true. What cannot be changed. So obviously, people say, well, my truth is, well, that's kind of not so. If it's not universal truth, if my truth can change, it's not my truth, it's my current understanding. The fact that I have understanding within me, that cannot change. My understanding of the situation can. That might be how you look at it. If I need outer circumstances to change in order for me to experience peace, that is not the unchanging, abiding peace that is. That is an illusion. The fact that there is peace within me to be experienced during any circumstances, that cannot be changed. The fact that there is joy within me that can be experienced and called upon no matter what the outer circumstances, that is truth. That there is love happening despite whether or not I see it, whether I'm willing to recognize it. The love that is and cannot be changed. What I like, what's logical to understand about all of law, which is the same as principle, is God cannot change it. It is. Law is law, and it's always going to be law. Principle is principle. It's always going to be principle. So, if you want to be calm, seek principle. Seek to know what is. Go on, Google's your friend. Seek to find out what is. Do not seek to find out what's in the news. Do not seek to find out what's going on in the latest celebrity world or political world if you want to experience peace right now, if you want to experience truth. It's fun to look up all that other stuff. It's fun to read all that other stuff, but it's not truth. It is going to change. Those people whose marriages have ended in disaster are finding new loves. So obviously, none of that, that's just experience. That what we're really seeking in all of this political stuff, in all of this gossipy stuff, what we're really seeking is what I talked about at the beginning, is to be nearer, my God, to Thee. I'm just a little confused as to how to do it. I'm either going to seek it through the highest spiritual principles, or I'm seeking to do it by way of bottoming out in misery. One way or another, I will capture my desire to know God and thus know myself. One way or another, I will seek to dig a hole and bury myself in it until I'm so miserable that there is nothing left but to turn to God. I remember I had a few years, about 5 years or so of sobriety. A friend of mine who had about 100 years said to me, so how low was your bottom? I said, I went to AA. How much lower do you go? Nobody leaves high school with dreams of joining Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, nobody, it's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. It is where I found the God. And what's really sad is I think I could have gone lower. As low as I was, which was, it was death or that, to go to those rooms with those alcoholics. You know, because I really didn't get it, that perhaps I was one, and perhaps that was the greatest gift of my life. Because I wasn't going to surrender until I had had enough misery. Do you want to be that person? Do you want to be the person who has to get enough misery to surrender? To go so low till it hurts so much that you finally have to choose between life or death. Because that's where I was. And I said, I will give life one more chance. And so far it's working out pretty well. I'm so glad that I did. That I said, okay, maybe there's another way than the way I have been trying. Because you see, I have been trying to satisfy all of my senses through the outer world. I've been trying to satisfy my ego and even my spirit through the outer world. I've been trying to get you to change, to make you love me somehow without me changing. Let's understand here. I did not want to change who I was, and that's what is the problem with you. Is you weren't changing who you were, and so here we were. I'm over here being me, you were over there being you, and I don't like that. I need more enablers. You know, my grandmother left, who I had to find somebody to tell me I was good, despite the fact that I had forgotten I was good. Well, I finally found it in a bunch of people who had also forgotten they were good, but they were seeking to remember. They were seeking to be nearer their God to them. They were seeking. They were people on a genuine quest, and they kept reminding me that it was possible, that life could happen and I would know what to do. They told me it was possible that life on life's terms could happen and I wouldn't hurt myself anymore. They told me life could happen and I wouldn't hate myself anymore. And then we went from there to life will happen, you'll know exactly what to do, and you'll be in love. And it won't be with another person. It'll be with yourself. It'll be with God. Those are the people I listen to. I listen to the people who had a strong desire to know God because it made sense to me. It was practical, it was logical in its own insane way. I mean, to look to the invisible as the cause of all my good doesn't make sense exactly until you get into a room like this. But to go out into the illusionary world, not the real world, as so many people like to say, and I've had people say that, you know, I told you somebody called into my radio show one night, David and I were talking about the thought exchange, and said, now let's talk about the real stuff. I want to talk about the problem. Well, when did the problem become reality? If the problem can change, it can't be reality. If it can go from being a problem to not a problem, obviously it wasn't real. It was just a challenge. It was just a confusing way. You know, I probably had 6 or 7 challenges already today. It's 11:30 in the morning. 6 or 7 challenges on how to think and opportunities to forget who I am or opportunities to remember who I am. Depends which way you take the opportunity. Which opportunity do you want? Listen to this. A sense of logic is a fundamental constituent of man's being, and all minds acquiesce in statements of logical sequence. We all see the relation and unity of cause and effect mentally stated, but because the realm of forms does not always carry out our premise, we fall away from the true standard and try to convince ourselves that our logic is somehow defective. So, somebody comes up and kicks you, well, the logic says, how dare you when you kick back? Or you run. We almost every one of us grew up grew up on this planet hearing about turn the other cheek. Almost every single one of us. And I notice very few people who actually embrace that or even understand it. Turn the other cheek doesn't mean give them your other shin to kick. It means to see the Christ in them. It means to hear the call for love in them. It means to hear the call for love in yourself. Or you turn the other cheek is to see it differently than as an offense. To see it differently than as an attack. To see it differently than lack. This is tough stuff. This is grown-up stuff. This is playing with the big boys. I wanted to play with the big boys. Sometimes I forget, and I go in the sandbox, and I'm kicking around too, throwing sand in people's faces. And it's not nice, and it's not polite, and it's highly forgetful. But I can stop at any given second and say, wait a minute, this is not the game I set out to play. I set out to play nearer my God to thee. I set out to have for the universal principle of being. Being God, being me. Imagine that. Being God, being me. It's a lofty goal, but really a practical one. I can live well, I can eat well, I can play well, I can live in harmony. Being me. Being God, being me. Being me, being God, being me. All it takes is this much willingness, mustard seed willingness to remember. Oh, what is it I really want? what is it I really want? And some days when you say what it is I really want, you'll go, oh, but I want to say this. Oh, but I wish I'd said that. Oh, but I'm so clever. To say this. But to say, but what I really want, what I really, really want is my God identity. I want that so much. And the only way to get that is to go within. The only way to have that is to go within and be. The universal principle of being is that there are no exceptions to this. Not one. The people I like and the people I'm confused about. I won't even say dislike anymore. The people I'm remaining confused about, they're all worthy and a part of the love of God. I do not have to place myself in exemption from the love of God just because I'm mad at somebody or somebody's mad at me. We are all worthy. And so I suggest to you that you desire, or that you remember, that you do desire to be nearer to God, so near that you cannot see the difference, so near that you could not discern a separation, so near that you feel the Spirit flowing through every cell, every tissue, every atom, every fiber of your being. So near, it flows through you. The Spirit of God flows through you every second, every moment of every day. So near that whenever a confusing thought comes up, you can remember like that what it is you really desire and what is really true and what cannot change. Feel the Spirit. Feel the Spirit. Feel the Spirit.
I surrender. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Creator. I surrender all. I feel the Spirit moving in me. 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 And I feel the love Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit.